Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Powercast from Charge Up. Today we're lucky enough to have a great friend of mine, an incredible entrepreneur, Mr. Phil Romano, who I know you've heard of if you're from San Antonio. Incredible concepts in Leon Springs, including Romano's Macaroni Grill, Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, Nacho Mama's, and the Leon Springs Dance Hall. Phil, it's a pleasure to have you. I sincerely thank you for coming into town today.
No problem. Glad to be here.
So you're well aware of the reason I started Charge Up was a way for me to honor the legacy of my father through the leadership lessons that he taught me over 50 years. He was a tremendous influence, teaching me things about honesty, integrity, character, probably most of all, gratitude. And the irony of it all is with him talking about gratitude, you would be the first person that would come to mind in my dad's mind, because you and he had such a unique friendship that spanned over so many years, and he treasured that friendship. I'm curious, any interesting stories? Because you really can't defend them.
Well, I met him through my father. You know, they became friends first. You know, I was younger than he was. You know, and all, but he would he'd try to tell me things. You know, and I was like these millennials are today. You know, I know everything. Can't tell me anything. So I said, I'm gonna do it anyway, Vic, or whatever. So we'd fight about it, argue about it, you know, and everything else. But I'd win. And but I remember one time, funny story about Vic, is that, you know, we're out there in the middle of nowhere, right? Mm-hmm. There's nothing out there, really. And so we were very busy on the weekends. I mean, we're just jam-packed on the weekends. But on a, you know, Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, we're slow. There's hardly anybody out there, you know, very little business. So I was thinking, you know, how could I market this or advertise it without making the people mad with coming on the weekend, because we packed on the weekends.
2 or 3 hour waits.
2 or 3 hour wait, you know, but they'd be giving the wine and all that stuff and going to town. And I said, well, I got an idea, Vic, what I want to do. I got everybody together, you know, in the office, so we talked about it. And I said, what I want to do on one night out of the month, either Monday or Tuesday, I'm not going to charge anybody anything. It's going to be free, nothing, okay? The wine, everything. Oh, you can't do that. Why not, Vic? You know, I said, so get your pencil and paper out, put the numbers to it. We did, and I can, you know, so he said, okay. And so we did. I said, we're not going to charge anybody anything. So I wrote a letter, and I said, I really enjoy the restaurant business, but what I don't enjoy about it is having to give you a bill. Charge you for coming in and having a good time. You know, I have a good time watching you have a good time, you know, so we just want to say thank you, you know. So either on every Monday, I mean not every Monday, but a Monday or a Tuesday, once a month, we're going to do this. Now, we're not going to let you know what day it is.
And no cell phones back then,
no cell
so
phones
we were
like
safe.
that. So we took the phone off the hook anyway, you know.
That's right.
The speaker out of order with the telephone. But it was, you know, it worked out good. It's like playing the lottery, you know, or you know, it's like having a special 1 out of 8.
That's right. Your odds. I mean,
it's good.
I'd keep coming back until.
So anyway, so we did it, and we give the letter to the people after they got done eating. I said, you know, we'd rather have you advertise in the newspapers. And I said, so you know, please tell the people about it if you know, if you enjoyed it, let them know about it. So boy, the place start rolling, rocking and rolling. So there's one of the guys that came in there, you know. I said, a friend of mine, you know. And I said, okay, listen, take this letter and bring it to the newspaper and say, look what happened to me at this restaurant out here. So they did, and they printed the letter in the newspaper, right? Now everybody's coming in there. But the funny part about Vic, he was up there, and about the second or third time we did it, you know, Vic is at the front, you know, and he's got his apron, you know, and all this stuff, and he would say, he'd come to me and he'd show me his head. He was bald-headed, right? He had lipstick all over his head. What's that from? He said, that's the ladies kissing me.
They were so excited not having to pay.
That's right, and they kissed me on the top of my head, you know. I said, so it was funny, but it was that was a good time. We did crazy things, you know. We both enjoyed the results of them.
What advice would you give yourself back at 24 years old that you've learned in this many years in the business?
You know, I think being an entrepreneur is survival of the unfittest, not survival of the fittest. Because I was unfit to have a job. I couldn't take orders. I don't want people telling me what to do. And I don't want people making decisions that my life depended on. Mm-hmm. So I just couldn't work for anybody else. I would make my own decisions. What I do with my son, I used to drive him to school every morning, Victor. Mm-hmm. I didn't miss a beat. I mean, that was my job. Because I said, you know, I got 15, 20 minutes that I could brainstorm my son and brainwash my son and get him to think the way he thinks he should think and be what he wants to be, okay? So I said, Sam, I said, you know, there's 5 things you have to be a good person. That I'll be proud of you, that you'll be making a difference. One is, number one, you got to have principles. We talked about principles. And so, you know, principles are doing what you said you're going to do. Number 2, you got to have responsibility. You got to be responsible for making the right choices, and responsible for the consequences if you don't. Number 3, you got to have integrity. You got to be honest. You don't lie. You tell the truth, and you don't lie to yourself. Number 4, you got to communicate. You got to tell people how you feel. Don't let them tell you how you should feel. You think for yourself, and you tell them what you think. Okay? Be a self-thinker. And number 5 has 3 things in it: love of God, patriotism, love of country, and charity. Now, if it happens, Sam, you're going to pick friends that are going to have the same value system. Because you don't want to pick a friend that's going to lie to you. You don't pick a friend that tells you one thing and does another, one that doesn't believe in God. You're going to pick the same kind of friend to hang around with. And the guys that have your same value system are going to pick you as a friend. Now you got a peer group to exist in. You got a good group of people to grow up with and go with, okay? And so he's done that. You know, he's got him a value system. And I brought it a step further, Vic, because I think, you know, your father knows this about family values and stuff and everything else. So you got to give your kids a path. So I made them an organizational chart. Okay, I said, the very top of it, your health. Without your health, you can't have anything. Because you don't do drugs, you don't drink, your health is important. The next thing comes down way off to the left. You know, on the chart, as the chart goes, your parents. What are your parents supposed to provide for you? Well, they give you your value system. They get you to be functional. They get you your education. They get you everything you need to have to be a functional, responsible person and live on your own without them. That's what your parents are supposed to do for you. Okay? Make sure you do the right things. The next one, come over, is academia, school. What's that supposed to do? Teach you ABCs, teach you the basics, teach you about the world, teach you math and things and tools that you're going to have to need in order to grow up and make an education, make a life for yourself. The next one, your girlfriends. Okay? What are they supposed to do for you? Well, we're going to teach you about love, companionship, the opposite sex, teach you how to treat a woman and a relationship and all this kind of stuff. Okay? You're going to learn that from that. The next one you're going to have is your athletics. What's athletics going to do for you? Well, it's going to keep you healthy. It's going to get you in college. You know, through scholarships, you work hard, keep you in college. You can work on a team, teamwork, winning, working hard to make it happen, you know, and getting camaraderie, okay? That's what that's going to do for you. The next one, way over, is your friends. What do your friends do for you? They're there. They're there to give you companionship. They're there to hang out with. They're there to talk, you know, to grow up with. You got your community, okay? So that's there. That'll get you out of high school and college. Now, what's next? When you get out, what's next? These change. Your parents, they're there, but they're not so important anymore because they did their job right. Okay? The next thing is academia. That's your job and your career.
Right.
That's what you're doing.
Carries over.
Your girlfriend, that's your family unit. That's what you're going to go through life with. Okay? Your kid, your wife, even a guy who don't know. But this is your unit. Okay. The next one, athletics. That's going to keep you in shape all your life. Well, you're running, jogging, swimming, playing tennis, you know, golf. That's what's going to, enjoyment. That's going to be that's for. Now, here's where you're going to live with all your friends. That's your community. You're going to be going to school with these guys. You're going to be in business with these guys. You're going to watch them have kids. You're going to have kids, watch them have kids, go to the games, go all this stuff. You're going to go to the funerals. You're going to go to the weddings. This is your life.
Mm-hmm.
All that. And this is what it is. You got a pathway. You know what to expect.
Synergistic approach where you're just looking. I love how you label everything, but yet it all falls back again
Right.
the second time around.
That's right.
So it's cyclical as you develop.
That's right. You know, and it's funny how I've kind of, I know it sounds kind of cold, but I raised my son like a business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And think about it. Know that value system of five
The
things?
5 things.
A good business has to have those. Or it's not a good business.
Without a doubt.
Okay? Think about it. It has to have principles. It has to be responsible for what it's doing. It has to have integrity. It's got to be able to communicate its message. It's got to have charity, patriotism, okay? And it's got to love of God.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's what a business has to have to be successful. That's what a person needs to have to be successful, you know? It all comes around, goes in circles.
So it's interesting you say that because I've kind of got the perfect segue. My entire life I've known you. Since I was skinny and little. But along the way, you provided me opportunities. And I wrote some things down because as I started thinking about the influence you had on my life. So I remember 6th grade in one of my classes, I was told I had to interview a businessman, and it couldn't be a parent. So I came to you, and that's when the office was on I-10 in Callahan. And we sat down in your office, and you're like, "What are you doing, Victor?" I said, "Okay, so I've got to do this story. I just need to answer these 5 or 6 questions and get a picture with you." You said, "Is everybody in the class doing it?" "Yes, sir." "Nah, we're going to kick everybody's ass. Here's what we're going to do." And I remember telling my teacher, "I can't turn it in tomorrow." "Why?" "Well, the business person I'm interviewing has asked me to go to the restaurant, talk to the managers, talk to some of the employees, talk to the customers." And I remember she looked at me, she's like, "You're in 6th grade. We just need the answer." It's like, "You don't understand who I'm talking to." I'm not allowed to do that because your approach was, if you're going to do it,
Do it right.
Don't do what everyone else is doing. You want to do it right. So then, now I'm getting older.
I remember you
15 years old.
want to get in the record business. You remember that?
We'll get to that because
Okay.
I remember that part too. So now I'm 15 years old, and you, Dad, and I were talking, and I think your father, and I was like, "Oh, every summer I spend, digging ditches. That's all I did in the summers. Dad, what am I going to do this summer?" You hand me a shovel and a hard hat. "I'll see you in August." That's all I did. And you looked at me and you're like, "Come work with me, Victor. Come to Fuddruckers." I was like, "Really?" You said, "Yeah, come to Fuddruckers. I'll get you a job." So we sat down with the manager, and when you introduced me to the manager, you said, "This is somebody." And I looked at you, and the manager looked at you, and he's somebody. Whenever you say, somebody needs to take the trash out, he's somebody. Somebody needs to clean the bathroom, that's somebody. And you point to me, and it was, once again, it's like, it was a life lesson. It was, you're here to work, and you are going to start right here. And through your actions, you're going to earn your respect. And once you earn your respect, you'll go from somebody to maybe something different. They may put you on a spot. But until then, you're somebody. So then we get up to the record business. And I remember you kind of helped me because my dad was like, "I don't know if I really want you moving to Los Angeles." And I loved having you at that table with a glass of wine because you were like, "Vic, go to Los Angeles. You're young. What's the worst that can happen?" Dad had a few things he listed of the worst things that could happen. But I was like, this is great. Whenever I have something I need to ask Dad, I need to have Phil with me because he was backing me up. But it was those experiences. So then they continue. I come back.
I'm a mad person, very mad. I wake up in the morning mad and pissed off. I'm mad in the morning. I'm mad during the daytime. I try to make other people mad. At nighttime, I go to bed thinking about who I made mad. I'm a mad person. Okay, mad. M-A-D, make a difference. I get up in the morning, how can I make a difference in my life? I can't do it in my life, I can't help anybody else. First things first, right? So I said, okay, how can I make somebody smile? That's why I tell jokes all the time. Make them smile, make them happy, do something for them. And then I got, how could I help somebody? Make their life. How can I make a difference in their life? Change their life. How could I do that? During the day, I talk to people trying to make them mad, help other people. And at nighttime, I go to bed, oh, look what I did today. I feel good about what I did, what I do. So these are things that you do. Making people mad. I'm a mad person. You think about it, And I'm saying, it's like I've been through 3 phases of my life, Vic. Okay. One, I wanted to make money because that's power. It's the power. You got money. You do what you want to do. Respect and all that stuff. The second phase of your life, you do it for social recognition. You want everybody to see what you're doing. Everybody know what you're doing because you want to. Say, wow, look at that. He created this. He did this. He did that. They're not thinking about money. I'm not thinking about money either. I'm just thinking money at some point becomes applause. Because you don't need the money, but you need applause. You want that. You crave that. Then the next thing, the third phase of my life I'm in now, I do things intrinsic value. I do things because it makes me feel good to do it. That's why I became a mad person, making life and making a difference in other people's life. MAD, making a difference. That's what I want to do. Everything I've done. Look at the heart stent. Look at the people's lives I saved, even my own. Look
at twice.
Yeah. So
it's amazing.
Yeah. So things I do, and the world is a different place than when I got here, and it's by and then I also do. I talk about myself like this, but I'm an artist. I do art, okay? And why do I do art? Well, I like creating things, and if I can't, I'm going to be too old to be creating things, businesses anymore, because it's passed me by. All this technology, I don't want to take the time to learn that stuff. Let somebody else do that. When I can't contribute anymore, I get out of it, and I go to my studio and I just paint all day. I could do something that they can't do. So I'm still doing something. I'm creating something that's never been there before. I get a piece of art, the only one in the world. Imagine that. And I created it.
That way.
And I created it.
It's mine.
See, yeah, that's it empowers you. It makes you feel like, wow, I could do these things, and go for it. Another thing too, I think is important, Victor, is that, it's like yourself, okay? You got a business, right? Okay. If you're an entrepreneur, it's easy to start businesses. It's easy to start a business. That's what I've done. What's really hard about it, though, is keeping them successful. How do you keep a business successful? Okay? How do you do that? Well, what made the United States successful? Our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. Okay? Well, you got to give your business a Bill of Rights, and you got to give it a Constitution. You got to look at it and say, what are the 5 most important things about this concept that if they changed them in any way, deviated from them, changed them, did them differently, took them out, the thing would be perceived differently, be differently, act differently, it wouldn't be the same. If you're going to grow something, a multiple's got to be the same. It's got to be as good as the day you started.
Those core
So
principles.
you got to keep it. Yeah, the core principles. You got to keep them, and that's your Constitution. That's your Bill of Rights. Everybody in your organization should understand the Bill of Rights. Whatever they are, same thing. And think about it. You really got to be stupid to stop doing the thing that made you successful in the first place.
It's that passion and it's that drive.
See, so that's what you got to start doing. Start making, and you do this for yourself.
But was it a challenge to get the buy-in? Because as an entrepreneur, you were leading so many people, and they all had to be on board. Was it a challenge to have people buy into your passion? Was it a challenge to get them to meet your expectations? Or did you find hiring the right people the first time, paying a little bit more than the competition, and really teaching them, not training them, teaching them how to love what they were doing?
Well, the biggest disappointment in my life are people. Okay? You're disappointed in them because you expect them to do one thing and they do another thing, okay? And they have no loyalty to what they're doing. When you find somebody that has loyalty, then you got somebody, then you develop them. But they got to show you that. You can't instill that in anybody. They got to have that core in the first place. It's like yourself. It's like your father, You got to have that. You can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit. So you got to make sure you got the right ingredients in order for somebody to become who they're supposed to be. And all you're doing it's you know, it's like a bell should go over your head when you are working for somebody. You're working for somebody and you're doing a good job, you're doing great and everything else, you're doing a good job for the guy. Ding, I'm doing it for him, why can't I do it for myself?
Right.
Then you figure out how you could do it for yourself. And then you go, you know, and you know, everybody says, is money important when you start a business? You know, no, it's not so much money, because if you got a good idea, you got a good concept, you present it properly, and you prove that you could execute it, you could raise all the money you ever need to have to do a concept. Okay? And I just like Fuddruckers. How much money do you think I put in Fuddruckers?
Exactly. The partnership came together.
Nothing.
They all put it in.
Nothing.
But look at the return.
And I own 52% of it. They put the money in. You know, guys that put some guys in town here, you know, my investors, $15,000 they put in, Vic.
Yep.
Right? Within 2 years, that was worth $3,400,000 without ever putting another penny in it.
They bought into your passion, and they'll follow you
passion,
forever.
yeah,
That's
and
right.
it worked, and you know, they're still doing things with me. But these are things that they got to have the right ingredients before you make anything, and before you bake a good cake, you got to have the right ingredients.
You talked about your father earlier. You remember what your dad told my dad about investing into Fuddruckers?
Don't do it.
Exactly. He said,
Don't do it.
And I would laugh because I was like, wait, Phil's dad's telling you don't do it? He was like, don't do it. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And they were from the old school.
I know. I used to, you know, when I first got going, we just became a public company, okay? And I had to have a board, you know, but I wanted to control the board, so I put my father on the board. He was on the board, you know, and all the stuff, the place up there on the top of the hill over there on 10, that building. That way you had a whole floor. You know,
That's right, where the office building was.
Yeah, office building. So, you know, and I'd have him there, and I know after one of the meetings, Dad, you got to stay awake.
So it's ironic, but it's also planned. You talked about having people buy into your passion, and then they discover their passion, and they have the courage and the belief to move forward, and like you said, not worry about money. Act on your passion. People will recognize it, and you'll automatically be successful. So one thing that you did that people still talk about today were the opera singers. So what I wanted to do today was bring somebody who spent 9 years singing opera for Macaroni Grill, Mr. Jonathan Pennington. I'd like to welcome him.
Mana tut sole, che o bello è, o solo mio strafronta te, o solo mio strafronta te, strafronta te. I did that for 9 years through college, so.
You know who got that going? Your father.
He loved the singers.
I know he did.
Well, I want to show you about making people's dreams come true and making them believe in themselves. I want you to hear Jonathan's story. It inspired me listening to him.
After watching Vic and yourself and Patty and your business structure, I restored the old theater called the Woodlawn Theater right out of college. And it's where John Wayne's movie, The Alamo World, premiered. So, you know, I remember y'all enforcing passion, and, you know, my passion was music, so I wanted to entertain, so I turned this 14,000 square foot old theater into a performance venue. After 6.5 years, it sold to someone else, and I moved downtown to the Cameo Theater by the Alamo Dome and ran that theater company for 4 years. After that, I had the opportunity to move to New York and do more musical theater thing, because that's was my passion. So that was actually 2 years ago. I had my first review in the newspaper. And I go back this year, November 17th, for my own cabaret show in New York City, where Barbra Streisand got her start. But I currently own a third theater here in town, which is the Roxy Theater. It's very intimate, which I learned from you all is that intimate atmosphere. And your principles are right on key. You have to have integrity, all those things you talked about, God. You know, money's always been hard, but I just didn't look at it. I just
Stick to
kept
the
pursuing the passion. And I've produced 150 musicals now, all paid through the company, not borrowing other people's money, just through ticket sales. So, yeah, I came from a single parent family, so when you gave me the opportunity, I mean, you paid well, like $10 an hour for singers, and then I would make like $300 in tips, so I could afford to fund myself through college.
Great, good. Congratulations.
So thank you, sir.
Jonathan, thank you so much.
Appreciate
This is a wonderful surprise.
Mm-hmm.
So, the young entrepreneur, we've talked about the 5 values. We've talked about how you lived your life, not wanting to work for somebody, wanting to be your own boss. And you're fortunate because you recognize that at a young enough age that you had a long time to pursue your passion. What advice would you give somebody who probably is just stuck in the dilemma, working for somebody, but yet has incredible ideas? And most likely the only thing that's holding them back is fear of failure. What do you tell that kind of person?
Well, first let me say, the fear of failure should be a motivator for you. Be so fearful of failing that you're going to work your ass off so you don't fail. Whatever you do, it's got to be something that's going to solve a problem. Else it's not going to be worth anything. You're an entrepreneur. Simple as that.
It's true. I mean, it's an experience to work in any industry. But it's taking that extra step. It's doing what nobody else does. Because I think so many people put a Band-Aid on things and move on and identify the Band-Aid. But is there anything that wears you down?
Yeah. What wears me down is what's happening in our country today. You know, it's so divided. It doesn't need to be divided, you know, and it's just a big divide, and it's hurting our country.
With Charge Up, one of the pillars, one of the foundations that we work off of is the ability to empower. So when I read about Trinity Groves and what's going on there and the drive and the passion that people have not only for visiting and going to the restaurants, I'm looking at it from the other side. You, in essence, are empowering each of those owners of those restaurants and giving them an opportunity to operate with their passion and really see what it's like to own a restaurant.
The key word there is opportunity. You know, an entrepreneur has got to see an opportunity. He's got to jump on it. I tell the story, and you got to think. You got to think fast, seize the opportunity, recognize the opportunity, and act on it.
So as we close, Charge Up is a pay it forward concept. In other words, this project is funded by me. What advice can you give me? Because I'm 50 years old. I have a job that I love. I have an incredible career, but through the gratitude I had for my father, it inspired me. And it actually took me, Phil, from grief to gratitude, because I had to find a way to release the sadness. And I know my dad he'd kick me in the butt if he saw me crying. What advice do you give me at 50 years old, just starting to become an entrepreneur?
Follow your passion, Victor. I'm a little bit of a visionary, okay?
I wouldn't say a little bit.
I like to do things that people said, that can't be done. You know, they're challenging me. And I said, well, I can do it. You know, step aside, you know. I do, so you fall once in a while, but it's okay. But you got to be a little careful. You got to be able to afford to fall. So you got to do fall when you get the money.
The higher up you go.
The higher up you go, the easier it is to fall. But you still want to, you know, make yourself feel good by succeeding.
I sincerely thank you.
Okay.
Phil, from the bottom of my heart, this concept could not have had a foundation without an interview with you because of the role you played in my life. And one of the things that I really want to encourage people, especially aspiring leaders, find mentors in your life. Find people who inspire you, find people who drive you. More importantly, find people who make you think outside of your comfort zone. Because having parents is wonderful, they're great guides, but you have to go to somebody with an open mind. You have to have another opinion. The lessons that I've learned through Phil over my life contributed to the success I have today, and I'm extremely thankful. I appreciate you watching. I especially want to thank the group of Pisanos for allowing us to be here. A tradition in San Antonio with 3 restaurants. You've got to come to Pisanos when you come down to San Antonio. I know Phil knows Joe Kosniak, who started this thing about 50 years ago, so he has a wonderful thing going, but we want to thank them for allowing us to use the room today. As always, enjoy your day, stay motivated, and don't forget, my friends, charge up.